Welcome back, everybody, to the Booze, Bets, and Ball podcast. Alec, back with Nate. It's been a while, I think, since we've been together. A lot has gone on. We're glad to be back. Nate, what's up? How you been?
I'm doing good. I just got back from St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands, like literally 2 hours ago. So I'm doing very well.
Yeah, we had to squeeze this in here because we do have a special guest for you guys that we're going to get to in a minute. Hopefully this is the last time you have to hear that stupid countdown clock. Our good friend Matty Fresh is working on a nice intro song for us. So hopefully by next week we get that done. If you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, you would have already known who's joining us. But in case you don't, because you live under a rock or something, we're gonna give you a hint.
Oh, good catch. Good catch.
Yeah, calling complete.
Foot in bounds. Oh.
Yeah. All right, terrible refs there, but we're very happy to welcome Jesse Della Valle to the show. Jesse, how are you?
Good, awesome, man. Appreciate the clip. Haven't seen it in a while. Hand counts as a foot, right?
Yeah, that was actually awesome. Going back to
good little throwback. I appreciate that. That's cool.
Yeah, that was I dug all over the place to find a good video. That's the one.
And one that wasn't on the one that you could put on without violating CBS or Fox or ESPN.
Right.
Yeah, I had to make
sure.
got
the stadium camera view, the film view. So good stuff, man. It's cool. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So for those of you that also live under a rock and don't know, Jesse played safety and punt returner at Penn State, walked on in 2010, played until 2014, and he has the unique distinction of being, I counted 18, there might be more, 18 guys to have played under all four head coaches from that time, which is a really remarkable feat, I think.
That probably sounds about right, 18. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of good names on there too. A lot of good guys that stuck around, which was awesome. So I think, to start, what brought you to Penn State? Was it always something you had dreamed about, or was it like a lot like they contacted you in high school? Or
for me, coming out of high school, I had some smaller schools that were offering, kind of the full package, some 1AA schools, and then I had like preferred walk-on opportunities from Pitt. I'm from the Pittsburgh area, so I went to high school in Pittsburgh. So Pitt and Penn State were two that kind of came to me with a preferred walk-on opportunity. And my whole thing was like, if I'm going to do this thing, I want to do it at the highest level. I want to give this thing a shot. And full transparency, like total honesty, I grew up like going to Pitt basketball games. Like I was a Pitt fan, like loved Pitt growing up, but I went to I guess it would have been 2009. Penn State played, I want to say it was Minnesota. It's like a rainy home game, so like not the greatest day to watch a game. But I was like, this place is unreal. You know what I mean? It was the first time I had been to State College, so just to kind of see the community and the atmosphere there, I was like, this is something I want to be a part of. Just to get my foot in the door, work my butt off and be a part of this. So Penn State's a special place, man. It really, as you guys know, it pulls you in. You really, join. It's cliche, but you really do join a family up there. So it's really special. It was special to me from that first day being up there.
That's awesome. So going the preferred walk-on route versus full scholarship at, I don't know, whatever 1AA schools. I'm supposing places, I don't know, like Richmond, these kind of places.
Yeah.
What is the what's the life like as a scholarship player versus a walk-on player? Difference in how you get treated?
I remember I showed up in August my first year, and I had my own cleats. I had my own equipment. Like I expected to just be like have to fend for myself, like you're on your own type thing. I walked in and they treated me at the time it was Coach Paterno's staff when I came in. They treated me like I was, 5-star, just like everybody else. And we had some big names in my recruiting class. So like I was in the locker room right next to those guys. There was really no differentiation between being a walk-on, being, you're 5-star, 4-star, whatever. So it was really about, you're going to be a hard worker, you're going to be a good teammate, you're going to play ball, that type of thing. So right off the bat, I mean, learned a lot of respect for the program. So I wouldn't say it was a whole lot different, but you walk into a locker room and you look around and you see guys that are all Big Ten, all Americans. You get humbled from the hotshot senior high school kid that you thought you were real quick. So that was a cool experience. But no, it was right off the bat, man. I was accepted as part of the team. I know that's still what's going on with the guys there now, with Coach Franklin and those guys. It's they just want to see you play ball. It's not really about stars or anything like that.
And judging by all the stuff, the memorabilia and crap.
Yeah,
play ball. Right, you did a great job. I mean,
appreciate it.
It's awesome when people do walk on and turn into a captain and a real contributor, because it's kind of rare, right? I think you and Nassim are the biggest recently who have done that, and it's just tremendous to see somebody take that plunge to go, instead of taking the scholarship, to go walk on somewhere they want to be and turn it into real success.
Yeah, it's like I said, it was a decision that I obviously had a lot of support from my family and whatnot to be able to just like take on the tuition and all that kind of thing. But I mean, it was a thing that's just like, I just wanted to go after it. I just wanted to give it a shot at the highest level and, see if it pans out. It's obviously blessed to be a part of those teams, really fortunate to have met some of my best friends up there and been a part of those teams through a trying time at Penn State, to say the least. But, man, memories that I'll never forget. So,
yeah. So during that time, as we said, you were under Paterno to start, and then Bradley was the interim coach, and then Bill O'Brien came in, and your final year was with James Franklin, the current coach. What were kind of like the differences between the four of them? Were things different? What did you take away from your time with each of the four?
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm in sales now. I'm in the business world now, so I kind of relate a lot of like the managers that I work for and stuff to like the way that those guys operated, right? Because we saw like at Penn State, we saw three kind of different CEOs, if you will, like how they ran the show different. Coach Paterno and his staff obviously had been there for a long time, so they had their ways of doing things, and that was the way it was going to be. And you had to respect that because of the proven success that they had. For years and years and years. Coach O'Brien came in, and he's an NFL guy, so he's all business. You know what I mean? And real straight shooter. Probably one of my favorite coaches I've ever played for. Coach O'Brien was just a guy that you could really kind of depend on his word. He would never shoot you wrong. He was, like I said, just a all business type good guy and great football guy. And Coach Franklin, he came in high energy, like real energetic, as you guys know, I'm sure, but at the same time, like, down to business and things like that. So seeing the way that the program kind of evolved was interesting, especially because, you see the way that you have success along the way and maybe hit some road bumps and how the different staffs manage those types of things. But, I mean, all of them, I had the pleasure to be around all of those guys. I mean, and I say be around them as a pleasure because it really was. It was awesome to get to know those coaches and see the way that they operated.
Do you actually – so you hear some of these things about Saban or other like really top-of-the-line coaches who you're not allowed to look in the eye, you don't talk to, right? You don't address them because they are the CEO type. But with the four guys you mentioned, at least the last, Franklin, who's there now, seems to be very personable and
for sure.
Coach. How about the others, though?
For sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, Coach O'Brien, I mean, he was as good as I've ever been around, as good as I've ever played for. He put me on scholarship my sophomore year. It would have been, I think, maybe like a year after he had originally come in. But when that happened, it wasn't a conversation of him, blowing smoke and saying like, "You're going to be a starter next year, putting you on scholarship." It was like, "Jess, we got a scholarship for you. You're going to be a special teams guy. You're going to help the team a tremendous amount, but you're going to have a role. You're going to have a chance at X, Y, and Z." And, like, that's just the kind of stuff as a player. Like, you respect it, but that's the kind of guy you want to play for. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of guy you'll go to battle for any day. And same thing kind of with Coach Franklin. I was only there for a year with Coach Franklin, but you know, you have a lot of respect for his word and what he's saying. Obviously, he had successes before he had been to Penn State, so you just kind of buy in and take it from there.
Yeah. So there's one game in particular that I wanted to ask about, and that's the 2012 Wisconsin game, the bunch of fighters game.
I thought you were going to ask me about Maryland when the guy didn't shake my hand.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was you out there. I did not know that until now.
Yeah, that was Stephon Diggs and Sean Davis.
Wow, I didn't.
I always say I can't draft Diggs in fantasy football. I just won't do it.
That's funny. That was that long ago. I sometimes forget that.
Yeah. But you said Wisconsin 2012.
Yeah, that was the
last game of the year. That was like the storybook ending, man. Like it was like when they make a movie about that year, that's going to be like what, you know what I mean? It's like a Disney Channel, Disney film ending there. Snow flurries, everything, the whole effect. That was cool. I mean, game I'll never forget.
Yeah. What do you think that did, for the program to win a game like that? And for Sam Ficken, because we know that year he started off tough with the Virginia game where I think he missed five combined field goals and extra points or something like that. Just for him to hit the game winner and, guys to rally around Mahdi, who was hurt. Kind of what did that do for the program? And you think the next years?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously such a special year for us because, I mean, a lot of people from the outside would look at the 2012 season and be like, these guys don't have a lot to play for. To us, we have everything to play for. Playing for each other, playing for the university. Like, we're as motivated as ever. And I think, like, Ficken, for example, I think he was always motivated. He always knew he was a really good kicker. Obviously, he's proven that, going on to play in the NFL and stuff like that. So, for the university as a whole, I mean, it was in my opinion, it was kind of the step into moving forward. Like 2012 is behind us. We're here to stay. Let's keep this thing going. Like I said, storybook ending really for that season. And the funny thing, you look back at that season, you look at the guys that we lost. I mean, we lost Silas that year. We lost Justin Brown, I think went to Oklahoma as one of our starting receivers.
Yep.
Kyrie Ford was linebacker. I think he went to Cal. So, like, we lost guys that were really good players too. Mm-hmm. We could have easily been 10-2 that year. I mean, we lost to Virginia.
Yeah.
The way that we lost that game. We lost to Nebraska. Was that the Nebraska year? That was the Nebraska year.
I believe it was, yeah.
Raymond reached the ball over the goal line, broke the plane, and they didn't. The
yeah.
Ohio, I think too.
Ohio, we probably lost to Ohio. I don't think that was good.
Yeah. So lost to Ohio 24-14, lost to Virginia 17-16, and then won the next 5.
Yeah. And then was Ohio? I want to say Ohio State was.
That was close.
It was an overtime game or something that year as well, maybe.
That was 14. That was your last year. That
was last year, yeah. We was in track. But, no, I mean, 2012 in the whole was just screw everybody. We're playing for Penn State. We're playing for the names on our back and the name in the front and the logo on the front.
That's awesome, yeah.
That's as motivated probably as I've ever been. You know what I mean, to play. We went out every Saturday and we're like, we'll take on anybody. We don't care if we're playing in a bowl game or not.
Right.
So, and you look at that team. I mean, you talked about some of the recruiting classes and some of the guys some of the names that you see on the roster. Like we had multiple guys that had great NFL careers, and some of them are still playing even. So, I mean, we were a really talented team. It's just, that was a special group, special year for sure.
Yeah, I have to ask about the Maryland thing now because I honestly forgot about that. So, like, what's the sideline like right after that? And then do you take satisfaction in like 59-0 and stuff like that?
I don't know if you'll be able to find a clip, of it actually happening. We were we were fired up. Like I remember I was like clapping real hard. I was like, let's get it on. It's kind of like going out in a at the start of a pay-per-view boxing match. You go to touch gloves and you don't want to touch your gloves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you touch my gloves because I'm going out to knock your head off. It was kind of that type of mentality. I feel like it's the kind of thing that someone does to try to be a tough guy when they're not. You know what I mean? You shake hands and that's it. But just kind of extra motivation, really. We unfortunately ended up dropping the game, though. You know, at the end of the day, I got the best of us. So, but I don't know. It wasn't real high on it. It wasn't real high on us for sure.
And Maryland, after they beat Penn State in 2020, they had the we are, they were, or you were thing or whatever. Like they like to poke their heads up, like when they have these somewhat proud moments, but then lose 59-0 or like 45-14 or something.
Yeah, I still get a kick out of, the Marylands and the Rutgers. They just really, really, really want a rivalry. And I get it. I get the recruiting areas and I get kind of the proximity and stuff like that, but like it's just not really where as a Penn Stater, it's not really where you're like, we gotta be
they should be rivals.
This is our rivals. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, you're trying to beat everyone on a given Saturday. So props to them that year. But I was happy to see that in recent years some of the beatings that have taken place. So
yeah, I think Coach took that personal for you guys. Then
and you have to, Alec. Yeah. I mean, when you go out and you reach out to shake someone's hand as courtesy, as sportsmanship, and someone doesn't, shake your hand, you take it personal. I mean, it gives you that extra kind of chip. So over and done with. Yeah. I was actually my first job out of college. I was a sales rep for an industrial tool company, and I was working down in Maryland. And I had we were talking about Penn State football or something, and the customer I was working with was like, "Oh yeah, we saw they didn't shake hands and stuff last year," and I was like, "Yeah, that was me." And I had to pull up
That's funny.
I had to pull up the picture and stuff. It was just funny. But.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So I have to ask about being the punt returner because, as you mentioned, you played with a lot of good skill position guys like Allen Robinson, Gino Lewis, Adrian Amos. So it's like kind of you being the guy back there. And is that like the hardest job in football, do you think?
It's challenging. It's definitely challenging. I wouldn't go as far to say it's the hardest. I think I gained the coach's trust. I spent a lot of time, in practice, before practice, after practice, just working on catching the ball, right? You're kind of like a surgeon back there. The first thing you want to do is no harm. First thing you got to do is catch the ball and win that field possession. So I think I earned their trust by just proving that I was able to do that. I actually, and this is kind of a funny story too. So we talked a little bit before about when I was a walk-on my first year. I showed up my own equipment, kind of low man on the totem pole type thing. My first job was I was a harasser for the punt returners in practice. So what being a harasser entails is the punters kick the ball and the punt returners have to catch the ball, obviously pre-practice. And my job was to distract them in any way possible. Just scream, yell, wave, like don't hit them obviously, but like, that's what it was. So like you talk about, low man on the totem pole. So I would always go out a little bit earlier, and I think I caught some of the coaches' eyes. They were like, "This kid can actually maybe return punts." And Coach Vanderlinden came to me. It was a real windy day. It was actually the Virginia game, 2012. No one could catch punts pre-game, and it was just real windy, like swirling winds, that type of thing. And I was doing all right with them because I would go out pre-game to do that with the rest of the guys. And Coach Vanderlinden was the linebackers coach. I think might be at Air Force now. He was in charge of the punt returners, and he was like, "You good if I put you back there?" And like I hadn't played. I played a little bit the week before, but like I would have like told my parents like, "Hey, I'm returning punts this week." But like I thought it was cool because they're just gonna see me out there returning punts and be like a nice surprise. But I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go." Like it's just the preparation I think that I had from practice. To me, it was just like, let's do it.
And you ended up later in your career being one of the top like 25 punt returners in the nation. So I mean,
I my average was up there. 2012, I had a good year. 2013, I think I was second in 2012, maybe third or fourth in 2013 in terms of average. Which I took a lot of crap kind of from the media with like fair catches and stuff, but it's like I can't just not fair catch it. Like I probably fair caught some that I shouldn't have fair caught, but at the same time, it's like if somebody's coming down and like knock my head off, like I have to fair catch it. Like it's not in anyone's benefit for me to catch that. So that always kind of was like strange to me. It was just kind of like something that people pointed out, which I get it. You want to see people return punts and stuff, but at the end of the day, especially with Coach O'Brien, like field possession was everything. It was like complementary football. So he was like, if we can get good field possession and you think you can safely fair catch it and get that field possession, like we'll take that all day. We'll turn the ball over our offense and go from there. So I always kind of got a kick out of that when I would get questions about the fair catch, but it did help my average too because I had some returns and that like helped my average also. So
almost nothing worse than a muff punt and the kicking team recovers it.
I always say that. I always say this. I lost one punt in 3 years. I returned punts for 2012, 2013, 2014. I lost one punt. It was against Northwestern. Windy day, came down, hit my fingertips, dropped it, lost it. It was the only one I ever heard about when I would come home. I saw you on Big Ten Network, dude. You dropped that punt against Northwestern. I'm like, that's the only punt I dropped in 3 years, and that's the one you saw?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something that you just got to chuckle and shrug it off, I guess. But, it was a fun time. I really embraced that role. That was like my thing. That was my way to really impact the game and help out and play a big part. So I always took a lot of pride in being back there. And I was back there with Vaughn Walker. We used to have two returners back. Vaughn Walker is probably one of the toughest dudes I ever played with. He was back there too. So if it was kicked to me, I knew he was coming up, and the first guy that was coming down to try to knock my head off, I knew Vaughn was going to pick him up and knock his head off. So like that's like another piece of comfort for the 2012 year was like having a guy like that back there kind of protecting me a little bit.
That's cool. So the 2014 season, we talked about the Maryland game already, but just being there when they announced that you guys were going to be bowl eligible again, considering you were there, when everything went down, when the sanctions were dropped, what did it mean like for those guys then to be able to play in the Pinstripe Bowl and then come back and win it?
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, it was really awesome. I mean, obviously that year we had hopes for a lot more wins, a lot more success. Not all the games went, the way we would have wanted them to. But just to get that opportunity, and the Pinstripe Bowl was a great time. I mean, I had never been to New York City, so like spending time in New York City and being in Yankee Stadium, we saw like Jeter's locker and stuff like that. So it was a really cool experience. The bowl game itself, they really do a nice job to accommodate the teams and whatnot. And just playing on Yankee Stadium. It was bizarre because the field went basically from home plate into center field, and you're used to like playing in obviously stadiums where the sideline, the fans are right behind you on the sidelines. Right. So the baseball stadium kind of branches out down the baselines, and it's just almost like it's almost strange because you feel like almost like no one's watching you, like no one is that close to you like you're used to. But overall, the experience was great. I always remember too. I was recruited out of high school by Tom Bradley, and we talked before about kind of my situation was like, did I want to take a full ride to a smaller school, or did I want to take my shot at the big time? And I remember Tom Bradley when he came to my high school, and we were kind of talking about my situation. He was like, if you're an actor, do you want to be an actor at the Homestead Theater in Pittsburgh, or do you want to be on Broadway? And that was his way of saying, do you want to do this thing, or you want to play small ball? And to me, it was it. So it was ironic to me after remembering that my career ended on Broadway in Yankee Stadium. So it was really a cool experience. So it was really something memorable.
That's awesome. I want to. Alec has a question about the young guys in a sec, but I want to. You said your career ended at Yankee Stadium, so talk about the transition to life after football. I live in Houston. I live in the suburbs of Houston. There's a bunch of like ex-NFL players and big-time college players who live here, and they're just like regular people. But I think they're regular people who have experiences that 1/10 of 1% of the whole world has, and everybody knows them, right? No matter what, if they're in a regular job like you are now, or they're whatever. Like, how was that transition for you? And how much of your life is still spent talking about your days at Penn State?
Not a lot. I got a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old now, so most of my time nowadays is chasing them around and spending time with them. But the first couple of years, man, Nate, to be honest, it was strange. It was like I spent so much of my time like working out, and you're always looking forward to Saturday. You're always looking forward to the next season, or you're just used to like competing and playing and being in the biggest thing, honestly, is the locker room stuff. Is like being around your buddies and like just the BS and that kind of stuff. Is like that's the stuff that you really miss. It's like just having those times with your boys and being with everybody. It was hard the first couple of years. It's definitely a change. I remember like working out was probably the hardest for me because I would like start lifting or something. Like, what am I lifting? Like, I'm pretty much just lifting and running so that I can drink like a couple beers on the weekend. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to look fat now. But that was a big thing. Was like the workout was a lot less motivating. But I remember watching Penn State games, and I just like. You get so much kind of more aggravated when you're not playing, you're not in it. Whereas like you're watching on TV, it's just like you're totally out of control of it. Whereas before, you obviously had a little bit more control on things. But now I feel like it's pretty far past me. Like I'm pretty comfortable with it now. But the first couple of years, it's definitely a little bit strange at first.
So how about working out like a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old? I remember. So my kids are like 17 and 15 almost now. So like I have all the free time I want, but man, when your kids are toddlers and babies, that's tough.
Yeah, if I can get like 20 or 30 minutes, man, that's great. I got like one of those running strollers, so like the 7-month-old, I haven't tried it with her yet, but my son, he likes like sitting in there, so I'll take him for a run. It's not a bad little workout, but if I can just get like 20 or 30 minutes now, that's about all I can get. Try to see what I can get in that time frame. But like I said, a lot less motivating.
Yeah. You got your Iron Lion shirt on though, right? So you should still be benching and stuff. I guess.
Continue mission.
That's great.
That's it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So you were on the 2014 team, as we said, and guys like McSorley, Godwin, Jaceki are true freshmen that year. Did you guys kind of have any idea that those guys could have been as good as they were and how good those teams were? And then this is a 2-part question, but then do you guys take pride in kind of what happened from 2016 to 2019 where they came back, were on the national stage? Do you guys that stayed during the the sanction years and kind of held things together. Do you take pride in seeing what happened those years?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I remember when they won the Big Ten championship. I was away. I was in Atlanta. And a lot of the people that I worked with were actually from Wisconsin. So I was with all like Wisconsin like coworkers. And they won that championship. I went directly up to my hotel room. I logged on. I started ordering Big Ten championship gear. I was like, that's why that's the whole reason we wanted to hold that whole thing together is, for future classes like that. Obviously we wanted success for ourselves, but at that time it was like, is Penn State even going to have a program anymore? Is Penn State even going to be around anymore? Are they going to be, and whatever every year? So like, to keep that afloat and really to have a winning season all of those years, and then to see the way that those guys ended up, some of those seasons with the Saquons and the Traces and Jesse and Godwin. I mean, that was awesome. Those guys were, like, as you mentioned, they were true freshmen whenever it was my last year. So
Right.
That was a cool connection too, to see like them have that kind of success, because all of those guys are such good guys. I mean, just really hard workers, like really good teammates. They came in and just adapted to the Penn State way, like right away. So yeah, we were all so fired up to see the success that they had. Remind me, what was the other part of this question?
Well, did you guys kind of see that coming? Did you think those guys were capable of doing things like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we had seen Jesse has like the high school videos of him dunking.
Yeah, he's nuts.
He's a crazy athlete. So yeah, I mean, you kind of know from the first time those guys, suit up, or even like a 7-on-7 type thing, you kind of know who's going to be able to step right in. And there was even guys that like Amani over Laurier.
Yeah,
He's like playing like one of the top corners in the NFL right now.
he is.
He played a little bit that year, but he didn't have as prominent of a role as some of the other guys like Jesse and Godwin and those guys. But I mean, he's a guy that his time at Penn State like just kept developing, kept working hard. Again, another really awesome guy. Like, so proud and so cool to see him doing so well. But it was a group of like a lot of really, really good guys that came in and messed with our team that year. And to see them have that success was sweet.
It's awesome. Well, Jesse, we really appreciate having you. I mean, if you want to stick around, we're going to talk about
it. I gotta ask you guys a question or two.
Sure.
So the podcast here is Booze, Bets, and
Ball.
Bros? Ball.
Not bros.
No, bros.
We are bros, but that's
Ball.
Yeah.
All right, so focusing in on bets, because I need a win from the LA Dodgers tonight to hit a 2-teamer.
Okay.
What do you guys got coming up for the year? You got any futures bets? You guys got any sort of bets you guys are looking at? What are you looking at in terms of the college football season?
Well, our betting guy isn't here today. He's in vacation on the Outer Banks, but I hate to say this, I really do, and you're probably not gonna like to hear it, but if gun in my head, who do you think's gonna win the national championship? I would have to say Ohio State. Okay. I think that's kind of there. If I had to put money on a champion, I think this year I go.
You can probably get some value with Ohio State. I think they're probably one of the favorites, but you could probably still get 2.5, 3 times your money, I would think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Penn State's over under is 8.5. I did.
That's a really good number. That's a really good number.
So I did a probabilistic calculation for every game based on the algorithm that I developed. And I have them winning 8.48 games or something like that. So it's like, it's like the sports books got this thing figured out. They do, exactly. Yeah, hoping definitely to get over that though. I think they're going to really surprise a lot of people this year. I hope so. I think they're going to get over that. Let's see. If you live in Houston and you buy a mattress and the That mattress back will give you 2 times your money back.
I saw that. He just put it in on the Astros, right?
Yeah, Barstool took $2 million to win 10.
I saw that. That's wild.
They're pitching.
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about that, and she's like, "Who would bet $2 million on the World Series?" I'm like, "He's probably making a killing if he doesn't win that bet."
And that money's insured. Let's see.
Yeah.
Ohio State. Alec likes Ohio State, I guess.
I don't know. We're gonna get into that in a couple weeks. We'll do our season preview.
Yeah. I'll tune back in when you got the betting guy back on. See if you got some insights that I can.
You may be underwhelmed. No offense, Justin.
Yeah, it's more of like a sarcasm thing. But, I'm gonna have to put like a disclaimer in the description that this is not an official don't listen to this. But,
all good guys. Well, yeah, thanks so much for having me on. And, here, react to this first before you go, because this is our next. All right, so Narduzzi was on somebody's podcast the other day, and as you know, they lost to Michigan State 31-21 in the Peach Bowl last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said, "You talk about Big Ten and SEC and ACC. If that's one of the best Big Ten teams, let's go to the Big Ten and win it every year. I don't want to hear about Big Ten dominance and SEC dominance." Your thoughts, former Penn State captain Jesse Della Valle?
A lot of thoughts there. A lot of things to think about there. I wouldn't say by any means, first off, that Michigan State is the premier Big Ten program. I mean, they had a few solid years, but I wouldn't say by any means that's the case. I think it's going to be real interesting in the next, I don't know how long, for Coach Narduzzi whenever these mega conferences really pick up even more. Because the last I saw was ESPN was trying to buy out the ACC network contract. They were trying to get more integration. They were trying to get the Clemsons, the Florida States into the SEC. And I don't know that Pitt is gonna fit into either of those conferences, whether it be the Big Ten or the SEC for that matter. So I don't know. Coach Narduzzi has had some success last year, but they're supposed to have a pretty good team, I think, still this year. But with the landscape and the way things are going, I don't know if they're going to be the odd man out. Or I actually would like to see them be in the Big Ten, to be honest. I think that would be cool. I think, like, if them and West Virginia got in the Big Ten, Notre Dame too. I would tell Notre Dame, if you're not in a conference, you don't play for the national championship, period. That's it. You know, you can have your NBC contract, but you're not going to win a national championship. Like they got to join the Big Ten. I think they will now, especially the USC in there. But Coach Narduzzi is we get a kick out of him here.
So let's drop Pitt into the Big Ten right now. What are their odds to win the league
next year?
Yeah.
So we're not considering USC in there. We're not considering
right now. Going like today. Yeah. It's
right today, as of July 21st, 2022. Jesse Della Valle Sportsbook. I'll put out. I'll give you plus 1,100 on Pitt to win the Big Ten. So I'll give you 11 times your money. Yeah.
So you're telling me they win it 9% of the time in a simulation?
I think Penn State right now is at 12 to 1.
Yeah.
We might
you never know that. Like last year, you would have took them to win the ACC. You would have got a great value on that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, you never know. But them losing Pickett is
and Jordan Addison.
And Addison, right? Which is another interesting situation.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Yeah,
it's a good one.
I don't know how well that's going. It doesn't sound like that's going too well.
Yeah, that's what some of those reports said. People are saying like he's not getting as much money as they promised, or a house, or something. I don't know, but it's hard to say what's real.
I'll head out in a minute, but I do want to get your guys' take on, and I'm sure you guys have probably talked about this on your show. What's your guys' take on the NIL stuff and like kind of the way that stuff's going right now? Have you guys discussed that yet?
We have a lot. I've kind of been at, like, I thought it was really cool when it was like they bring back the NCAA video game. I think a guy should be able, if he wants to make a T-shirt with like his face on it or whatever, like he should be able to make money off of that. There was a kicker a few years ago who had like his own YouTube or something like that, and he had to stop it because he became a scholarship player in college football. And I'm like, that's ridiculous to me. Like that stuff, they should be allowed because that's them. That's their own life. That has really nothing to do with you. Some of this stuff where it's like they're offering, there was that rumor that Miami offered that quarterback like $12 million or something, Jalen Rashada. I don't know if that was ever true, but like the fact that stuff like that even gets talked about, I think is a little crazy. Like, I don't think we need to make this like, like the MLB free agency where we're bidding on guys and stuff. I'm fine with a lot of the other stuff, like what Sean Clifford did with his Limitless company. I think that's awesome. Stuff like that is really good. But some of this, like where it's like we're practically bidding on guys, is where it gets a little ridiculous.
And it's just going to concentrate power to a very, very small number of schools. And if you're on the outside of that, then you're going to have sour grapes about it. And if you're one of A&M and Alabama and, Ohio State and others, you're going to love it.
See, I agree with that, Nate. But recently I've been thinking the other way too, right? Let's look at what we were talking about Pitt, right? I live in Pittsburgh. I know some Pitt alums that have huge money. Yeah. So let's say Pitt, some of these alums just say, I'll throw 8, 9, 10 million a year, and we'll get all the best recruits because I love Pitt football and I want to be around Pitt football. Mm-hmm. And then these kids start saying, well, I'm not going to Pitt. I'm not going to Georgia. I'm going to Pitt, or I'm going to UCF, or I'm going to whoever's throwing me the most money. That's the thing that was interesting to me. It's like, there's no regulation on this. Like,
that needs to happen.
They're not regulating this thing at all. So it's at the point where literally, if someone wants to throw big money, like what USC did, you can literally say, "Come to an autograph signing at my car dealership. I'll pay you $1 million. You can drive a truck." Done. And now you can legally do it under contract. Whereas before, people were probably still doing it, but it was illegal and frowned upon. But now it's like the Wild Wild West. It's like,
so you're right, and if you get the boosters and the alums to step up like that, that will be true.
Yeah.
Or you struggle though, like A&M. I forget what whatever A&M has. They have a lot of billionaire level boosters.
Yeah.
Oil money.
Pay a roster, right? So there's a difference between paying several players and
right.
paying the whole offensive line $1 million each or something like that. So you really have to make it a team effort.
Right.
Penn State is one of the, like, how many billionaire alums go to?
Right. It's the biggest alumni network in the country.
Yeah.
Right. So it's there's people out there that are obviously crazy about Penn State football, and that's by no means exclusive to Penn State. That's all these big universities. So, to your point, Nate, it's probably a situation where the rich get richer. But again, playing into the super conferences, like that's kind of the way it's going anyway. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting dynamic. I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be a lot different than when you were there, right?
So much.
I graduated high school in 1997, so like I ran track at Penn State just 1 year and then I transferred. But like when I got my Nike sweatpants and like my property at Penn State athletics sweatshirt, that's all I needed. I was like,
no, I know. And I'm always interested too in like, you never know what's said in like the recruiting path, but like how much is that talked about now? It's like our high school kids literally being like, how much money am I going to make? Like I would guess a lot of them probably.
I think I would say that's in the top 3 right now, along with like, can you get me to the NFL?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to win? I think it's right up there with those other two. I definitely think it's a top 3 recruiting factor right now.
Yeah. It's an interesting time, but love college football, man. It's nothing like it. So it's can't wait till we start back up here. It's exciting.
Yeah. What really quick? What are your thoughts on starting on a Thursday? Is that just weird to you? Is that
what's going on?
At Purdue on a Thursday.
Don't love it.
No.
I think from a player's perspective, it's probably really no different to them, right?
Right, and it's the first game of the year.
Yeah, you're going through camp. You're chomping at the bit just to play anyone at any time. You know what I mean? if it was during the season, I think that would probably be a little bit more of a curveball, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not that big of a deal. From a fan perspective, I mean, what do you guys think? I think it's not bad. It's kind of like you get a lot of the spotlight, right? It's something to do on a get the weekend kicked off.
Yeah,
Watch
I mean,
somebody's butt.
I would never want that as a home game.
Yeah, right.
And Franklin has said that, like, because the Big Ten does the whole Friday night game. He's like, no, because like I need high school kids watching my games. Like, we're not playing home games on Friday. So if it's a road game, I really don't care. But if it was a home game, maybe a little bit of a riot. But I'm okay with it as a road game.
Yeah, I don't. And those games are usually kind of like the smaller schools that don't get the viewers on Saturday, right? It gives them that spotlight. Penn State is getting people watching the games no matter what day or what time of the day they play. So
I think Penn State's last Friday game. So there's been two recently at Illinois, and then the other one, another team that doesn't really matter in the college football world, was at Maryland. So
at Maryland, and that was the one
that was the 59-0.
Yeah, that was KJ Hamler freaking destroying them. That was an awesome game.
Where they canceled classes and everything.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Hey, it's football time. Football season is best time of the year. So I said it's like my favorite holiday now is Labor Day, because it's like this is like July is like such a dry, dead period for sports. There's like nothing to watch. There's nothing to be fired up about until you start your fantasy leagues and start getting ready for NFL and getting ready for college ball. So it's exciting times. We're looking forward to it. So I'll be checking PSU everything. Is it at PSU everything on Twitter, right?
No, the @ is PSU_strong, but the other name is
gotcha. I'll be checking it out. My go-to. All right, fellas. Really
thanks, Jesse. So much.
All right, thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Yep. See you. Okay, Nate. What's up? That was good.
That was awesome.
That was fun.
Man, 45 minutes.
Yeah, I told him like it wouldn't be more than 20, and so. That is and
he's got kids to take care of too. So
I really appreciate that. Really do. So it's just the two of us this week. Everyone else is Tyler's at Luke Bryan concert. Justin's at the beach. Don't know where Dylan is.
Be safe, Tyler. Hopefully, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll probably hear about this next week. I might keep our Arts Fest stories for next week too, because this was the first time that him and I, as 21-year-olds, got to go to Arts Fest. Actual Arts Fest, because it was canceled the last 2 years. It was interesting. It was fun. It was, I don't know. It was another weekend in State College, honestly. It was nothing out of the ordinary, in my opinion.
Did you collect any content? We talked about doing stuff.
I couldn't. When I would see Tyler, it would be like he's already gone in the bar, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not videotaping in the bar or anything. But yeah, no man on the street or anything. That didn't work out. But
for the season, maybe.
Yeah, well,
I'm actually quite happy that the Purdue game is on. We're gonna have to do the podcast on Thursday night or early Friday morning, because I have a trip. We're going away for Labor Day, so just keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay, I'll make sure to fit that in my schedule.
Thank you. Sorry. So the Narduzzi thing, we talked about that a little bit more.
Yeah,
that is an insane take. That is like.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't blame them in this sense. Hear me out. They won the ACC, and I don't feel like they picked up as much momentum and national headlines as I think they would have expected, and honestly, as I would have expected. Like, their recruiting class has 1 4-star in it. It seems like people are still counting them out. I think he's just trying to kind of grab some more attention back on the program, and I mean, if they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, I think that's maybe what he's doing. People are talking about him. We're talking about him.
That's true. I
don't think he means that. I don't think he truly believes he could go into the horseshoe and win every year. Like, I don't think.
Let's go to the Big Ten and win it every year, he said. Quote. Ohio State can't win it every year, right? So Ohio State has a far better program than Pitt does. Just, where would they stand in the pecking order? again, if they dropped in right now, they'd be behind Ohio State, behind Michigan, behind likely Michigan State, behind Wisconsin,
And
behind
close,
Iowa.
close to us.
Yeah, so close to us for right now, close to Penn State for right
Yep.
now, just because of having some down here. So they're like, squeaking out in the top half of the conference, basically.
Yeah, if we're going like every year, like I think they'd be like they're a better draw, I think, than like a Maryland, Rutgers, Illinois, Indiana, and at times Purdue. But I just don't. They're not that powerhouse that
No.
Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and outside of a pandemic and some Sean Clifford cracked ribs, Penn State. Like I think they said he's like 1-6 against the Big Ten or something, and that win is the 2016 game against Penn State. So doesn't have a great record against the conference, honestly. So
1-3 against Penn State, Michigan State. I don't know who else they played, but yeah, and they were winning. I mean, it says they were up 21-10 heading into the fourth quarter, but you know what? You don't give up 21 straight points, guys.
Yeah,
it's like there's an old Simpsons, a very old Simpsons, where Mr. Burns was at the Yale-Harvard game, and he's like, I forget how exactly, but I don't even know why they show up anymore. They barely beat us half the time or something like that, right? So that's a dumb take. And you're right. It's just drumming up publicity and some attention for Pittsburgh football, which is pretty lifeless, I would suppose, most of the time. But
yeah, I mean, this is their time to get. I mean, they had a very good team last year. I think they still have a pretty good roster this year. I know, we're going to see with Caden Slovis as quarterback. And obviously, they lost Addison. It's really hard to lose a first-round pick quarterback and the Blitnikoff Award winner and think, you're going to be as good. I think they have a good roster this year, though. Long-term, still not sold on them. But I think now is like his time to maximize on his program and kind of put them out there. Yeah,
I agree. Look at you. You're very, very nice to him. Clemson's going to be back. Miami's going to be fantastic this year.
NC State's a good team.
NC State's going to be good. Yeah, he should worry about getting third in his own division before they talk about coming in and winning the Big Ten every year. But
yeah, some of it I think has to do with Michigan State and him being a coach there in the past and stuff. You can see it, but sure, you get it. So this actually ran a while, but really quick. I do have a bet, and it was a baseball bet. So he asked about futures in college football, so I didn't give it to him. But if he's listening to the end, you'll hear it. But there's 3 second-place divisional teams in MLB right now that I like to win their divisions, actually. It's the Braves, the White Sox, and, oh, my God, I can't remember the third one. It was the Cardinals. The Cardinals. If you parlay the 3 of them, it was plus 1,300 when I looked at it yesterday. Yeah, so I like that bet. I put it in. So that's one to keep an eye on as the second half of the season starts.
I would do – so you parlay all 3 of them, and then you take each 2 as pairs too.
Yeah.
Because I think, having all 3 win is – you're staking a lot on that. But if you did White Sox and Cardinals, and who was the other one you said?
The Braves.
Braves, White Sox, Braves, Cardinals. It was probably 500 to 1 each or so.
Yeah, I tried adding the Yankees and the Astros in it too to up the odds, and it literally did nothing for it. So don't do that.
No,
it's not worth the risk. The payout went up, I think, by like 50 cents or something. So not helping.
That's good. All right, good. I know nothing about baseball. I will pay attention to baseball if the Astros are in it in October, which they will be. So
yeah, they will be. Hopefully, the Phillies need to be in it. I was 12 the last time they made the playoffs. I'm now a college graduate, so yeah, there's that.
Anyway.
Oh man.
Hey,
all right.
Song next week. Theme song next week.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm gonna text Maddie again. We'll see what's up with that. But thanks for watching, listening, however you viewed this. If you viewed it on Twitter, YouTube, wherever. Thank you, Alec, Nate. All right, thank you.